Hey, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, fanboy supervillain. And it looks like we are well and truly in the Shadow Generations hype cycle now. Now 2 days into Summer Game Fest, people have had the chance to play the demo for Sonic X Shadow Generations. And with that, we've received 10 minutes of gameplay, which I am going to analyze extensively. We're gonna start off though with my immediate reaction in real time. Subscribe, Patreon, Ko-Fi, you know what to do. It's all in the description below, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Alright, so courtesy of the VGC YouTube channel, we've got our first extended look at gameplay from Sonic X Shadow Generations. Our first look beyond just what was those very quick cuts that we saw in both of the trailers. So, just real quickly, we're gonna watch through the Shadow gameplay. I have skipped past the Generation stuff because, to be honest, it really doesn't look any different from the original game. I'm really curious as to how this remaster is really gonna be much of a remaster. But, yeah, we're gonna go straight into the Shadow stuff, and I'm gonna be commentating on that, reacting in real time, so yeah, here goes. So, they're just gonna finish up with Green Hill Zone, don't wanna miss any of the Shadow stuff, so... Okay, here we go. So yeah, grinding our way into the level. Nice big slope to start us off. Yeah, looks quite basic in terms of level design so far. Got a bit of platforming going on here, although the platforming itself is kind of mitigated by having a homing attack chain there. I'm wondering what that sound was when he beat the enemies though. Ooh, bit of nope, okay. Not gonna do that for too long, I guess. But there was another anti-gravity bit over by the side. That was another alternate path, so that's all solid stuff. I want to see more of those anti-gravity panels. But, okay, we got some tube stuff going on here. It'd be cool if they put, like, little hazards around those tubes that you have to dodge, or maybe some extra awards on the ceiling. I think that's something I am noticing so far, is that there's quite a bit where it's like, okay, we've done an anti-gravity gimmick, or we've done the tube gimmick, but we haven't really done anything with it. It's more just there for kind of servicing, changing things up, and I'm hoping that this is maybe the first level and that they'll change things up a bit further. Also, look at that in the distance, though. That looks amazing, like, visually. Okay, boost offensive capabilities. We got a new little hazard here. That's cool stuff. Item box! Hold on. Okay, good delivery from Kirk, but what was that? Let's go back. That's an item box, and I'm guessing that is what unlocks the Chaos Control power. Really cool use of also using that as a platform as well. I wonder how else you'd get across that, whether or not the homing attack has the range, but is there something beneath those missiles there? Is there like a lower path? There is. There's something down there. Maybe it's not a path, maybe you could just get back up to where you were before. But that's quite cool, that, like, you time it correctly, it grants you the use of those kind of missile drill things as a platform. That's cool. And then, yeah, I'm guessing if you didn't have the Chaos Control going on, which stops time, these things would be moving up and down, so you'd have to have your opening to go through. Okay, alright. Liking that. Okay, so it fades out, so there must be something there that we don't get to see. Okay. Alright, I see you. I see you. That goes hard. Oh, the lighting there on that shot. Did you... I've been saying that the lighting looks a little bit last gen on this game, but just let me pause here. Look at that. That looks awesome. That looks really cinematic. Okay, yeah, I think I am really sold on the visuals here. Again, I still think they look pretty last gen, but this does look to be one of the better looking Sonic titles anyway. Super easy little bit of maneuvering through lasers here. That's good. Oh, now that's nostalgic. Those doors from the inside of the Ark. Oh my god! It's him! Artificial Chaos! Let's get another look at him. Sorry, I keep pausing this. There's just so much to see, and it's all in such quick succession because it's a Sonic thing. Looks like there's an upper route up there as well. Okay. Okay, got laser fields to jump over. We got these ramps. This is all cool stuff. That's great. I kind of feel like sometimes homing attack chains are used to kind of avoid making it too challenging. Like, I feel like you could just have these ramps alone as a means of getting to where you... Hang on. So if you successfully jump off this ramp, you've got that you got another platforming section up there. Okay, this is great. This is really good. You've got the upper path, the lower path having more obstacles. I do think that the laser field down there would be better without the homing attack chain of enemies so that you actually have to time your jump, but that's all... I'm guessing this is just the first level. Okay, alright, so like I was saying earlier about these tube things, looks like you can jump up there as well. Up in, there's a little thing up there. But, okay, we turn left here. And this tube thing, I was saying they should make you so you have to align yourself a certain way on these tubes. Ah, okay, so you got dash pads to do that. I thought it would have been cooler if they maybe had, like, some arrows down. That would mean that you'd have to... You'd have something to tell you, okay, start turning in this direction, and then that leads you to the pulley. I wonder what happens if you don't go to the pulley. What was that? What was that? Okay, so as you go through these doors... Yeah, looks like there's more stuff going on there. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're not seeing. Also, this is quite lengthy. For a conventional... Okay, alright. Alright, we're doing this. Character animations are looking really good this time. Wait, so did we just seamlessly transition from one environment to another? Like, kind of Rift Apart style? Because that we were previously aboard the Ark, and now we're in what looks like Westopolis. Although the music is... Oh my god. Look at that! The music is Radical Highway, so I'm guessing this is a Radical Highway thing. Dude, look at this visually, though! Black Doom's voice is great. That sounds just like how I remember Black Doom sounding. This all looks very basic, though. A lot of holding forward. You don't even have to turn here. You got dash pads. It'd be cool if we could have that so you actually have to manually turn him. And I know that, like, turning's difficult in Sonic games, but Frontiers nailed it. So I think, you know, we can do that now. But, alright. It is very hold-forward-y, though, here. Like, but I'm guessing this is more... Maybe it's going to evolve into, like, a mini-boss or something, or maybe... I mean, at the end of the day, this is presumably at the end of the previous level, so... Okay, look at all these alternate paths here. You've got platforming sections versus staying on this rail. It looks like the rail might be the fast way. Although it looks like the rail is the first thing you're put on, so... Maybe you are rewarded for just staying on the rail. Maybe. Hard to say. I wonder what's on that upper path there. Okay, so lots of branching paths. I'm happy about that. God, look at this. Dude. Okay, we're sliding. This is great. This is great. It looks like those ramps serve as purely just rewards. You could probably just blaze past them or jump over those obstacles there. So, again, it's like, it's there if you want to use it, but it's not necessarily going to kill you if you don't. I think it'd be cool to get some more stakes in there. Maybe put some spike beds or something down, but... Oh, wait, no, because those obstacles there are quite long. So, yeah, I suppose you wouldn't be able to... you could jump over that one, but, like, this one here, jumping over that would probably be quite difficult. So yeah, you do have to use that ramp. And then non-automated as well. That makes me really happy. Okay. Alright. Okay, what do we got? Oh, okay, so that's a shield. That's not just a fire. Okay. Alright, that's cool. Okay, it's a mini-boss, effectively. Alright, I fold. This is the best looking visual Sonic game. Shadow looks so good. I like his fur textures a lot. I like that we're kind of going for furry stuff. We got Bio Lizard now. Okay, let's see what we got. No kidding. Okay. Oh wow, his gills are flapping around. Oh, that's awesome. Go on, let him know how it is, Bio Lizard. You look at the big dog. Hell yeah. Okay, this is all very faithful to the original so far. Like, I remember doing this. The jump looks nice and the turning looks good. Maneuverability looks pretty solid with Shadow. This is all very faithful. Alright, combat. Nice, nice. Okay, he's got these Eldritch Abomination grape sack tendril thing. Look at his gills! Ugh, that's yucky. He's still a big, adorable dog, though. I still love him. Dude, he looks amazing. Look at him. There's the Master Emerald Shrine in the back. Awesome, awesome. What's... Okay, has he got wings now? He's got wings. So that's Chaos Control, slowing down time effect. Okay. Alright, so you're playing it from kind of Shadow's perspective. Ooh, okay, yeah, there's the Chaos Spear. How does that work? Like, how do you aim that? I'm guessing it's auto-aimed, like the homing attack, maybe. Very cool. Very cool. That's the End's big death ball that breaks Sonic out of his Supersonic 2 form. Shadow can just beat it up. Makes you wonder why he does those little punches and kicks when he's just going to do a massive big kick on it. Okay, this is awesome. This goes hard. Yeah! Okay, great. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna go a bit more into detail as we get into the more, not scripted section, but the more structured section of the video, so see you over there. So according to folks who played the demo at Summer Game Fest, there are 4 different sections of Sonic X Shadow Generations available to play. You've got 2 acts of Green Hill Zone from the original Sonic Generations, and then 2 separate acts for Shadow Generations. You've got the Space Colony Arc stage, and then you've got the Bio-Lizard boss fight. I'm going to start off talking about the Sonic Generations Green Hill Zone Act 1 and 2. And it's funny, the voiceover in the video says you could kind of see some of the visual improvements, but where? It looks no different. This is a remaster in the most liberal sense of the word. Not only that, this video footage is not ideal to showcase this remaster with whatever granular little changes it has, because we've got quite a crushed bitrate on this video, so it doesn't do that any favors, so I can't tell any difference here, even if there is any difference. I didn't see the drop dash get used, I didn't see any of the new Chow stuff. However, looking back at previous footage that has been released, there is one difference that I have noticed, and that is that the depth of field effects appear to be gone now. Things that were blurry in the distance of the original Sonic Generations are not so blurry now. And that isn't a good thing, because there's a lot of background elements in Sonic Generations that are made lower poly or made using billboarding textures. Just a lot of low fidelity distance stuff that is made to look blurry. You're not supposed to see it clearly. And now you can. That's a downgrade, so I'm not sure what's happened there. And according to fan modder Blue Wolf Blitz, yeah, it does appear that the grass in Green Hill Zone is incorrectly shaded. So the individual grass texture itself is fine, but then, like, little blades of grass that sway in the wind are a different shade to the rest of the grass. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be rolling their eyes and saying, is that really a big deal? But I think we need to get this whole thing of, oh, it's a small detail, so it doesn't matter, just out of here. A remaster is an opportunity to perfect a product. There should not be new blemishes. In fact, all the blemishes should be ironed out. It should look better. And right now, this looks just like a tiny marginal downgrade because there's no depth of field anymore, and the blades of grass don't match up with the rest of the grass. If there are new blemishes or downgrades, where they exist, they should be acknowledged. A remaster is an opportunity to give us the best possible version of it, so I don't accept any form of downgrade, big or small, when it comes to a remaster. But it all appears to run fine. It doesn't look glitchy or buggy like Sonic Colors Ultimate. And that's not even the main event. But, like, yeah, for the Generations remaster itself, I'm not seeing much here. And I think if it weren't for the Shadow Generations part of this, I probably wouldn't double dip. But okay, moving over to Shadow Generations, we've got the final chase level aboard the Space Colony Arc. Let's start with that. Level design looks fairly basic. It's focusing a lot more on stimulants than, say, platforming challenges. There are different parts to engage with, but the majority of what we're seeing here, you can kind of tell that it wouldn't require a huge amount of player input or coordination. A lot of this is the player just kind of holding forward and they are able to get to the end doing that alone. That being said, it does cut away a few times, but I'm not sure why they would cut away from platforming sections. But at the same time, yeah, we did see a section in my reaction where we saw like some doors open and there were some platforming bits and pieces in the back there that we didn't actually get to see play out. So clearly some things are being kept secret, at least in this gameplay footage, which they might have edited for brevity's sake. I don't know, but I hope we can get like an uncut version of this so we can really see its full potential. I'll say this, the level looks big. It looks like a very big level. There are a lot of alternate pathways, and I'm wondering how far those alternate pathways will take us. I'm hoping it's not necessarily going to be like Forces, where it's like the alternate pathway lasts like 2 seconds, and then you're just back on the main path. I'm hoping it will be more akin to Sonic Dream Team in that regard, where like you can have one playthrough of the level be almost unrecognizable compared to another playthrough of the level depending on which path you take. It does look vast though. And I think this playthrough is going for the most basic path possible, because, like, there was an instance where I was like, oh, an anti-gravity wall, but then it lasted, like, 1 second before going back to just regular gameplay, but I could see anti-gravity walls in the background on another path, meaning that there's probably a much more engaging, much more challenging path out there, and I'm wondering what the reward will be for taking that path. And in that regard, the level design is quite Sonic Dream Team in a way. I don't know if it will be as good as Sonic Dream Team's level design. I don't know if it looks as good as Sonic Dream Team's level design right now, but it does look like that is an aspect of this. That you've got your basic path and then you've got other routes with different rewards. And if that is the case, color me happy. Another thing I'm loving here is the visual variation in this stage, going from like cyberspace, where it was basically just generic levels with a green hill coat of paint. Here there's a real sense of geography to this area. You've got lots of grinding outdoors and lots of like metal panels, but then you've got these tubes that take you inside. You go inside the Space Colony Arc, you've got the return of those opening doors. It is constantly changing it up. It really feels like you are going on a journey here. And that's something that a lot of Sonic games don't really take advantage of. Also, Artificial Chaos is back, and is like, yeah, the Sonic Adventure 2 fan in me. Like, Sonic Adventure 2 is one of my favorite Sonic games ever made, and yeah, I am just feeling very recognized right now. Like, even if we're not getting Sonic Adventure remakes, we're getting something kind of brand new that takes on board what I loved about Sonic Adventure 2. And just seeing this level get recreated to this extent, it does strike a chord with me. It does go to show that there is still some value to nostalgia in Sonic. It's just, it doesn't always have to be the same nostalgia. It's just funny because I've been saying, like, I don't want them to keep bringing back old levels in Sonic games, but, like, here we are with a game that is bringing back stages from Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog 05, and Sonic 06, and I'm so excited. I think it just goes to show the classics are kind of done to death now, or at least, you know, Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary. So to get, like, just something that hasn't been redone before it's exciting. It goes to show there's a lot of nostalgia that Sega haven't been utilizing for a long time, and now that they're finally doing it, it's like, I'm not even mad. Now, I am definitely seeing some Sonic Frontiers inspiration here as well, as, like, within these levels, which are basically conventional A to B Sonic levels, we've got these, what I like to call go hard moments, where they just get really anime. Shadow will just do a super cool thing in the middle of the level that will make you go, hell yeah. Like a giant obstacle will come in Shadow's way and Shadow just beats the crap out of it and does a really cool fighting pose. I'm happy to see this franchise really leaning into that hardcore anime stuff. Now, I am wondering if these are entirely just cutscenes or if we're required to, like, mash buttons or do prompts here. I'm hoping it's like a button mash thing. Like, you know, the more you mash the button, the more he kicks the crap out of this object. Because, again, the more player input, the better. But a point that genuinely had my jaw dropping was the seamless level transition from the Space Colony Arc to the city, which I'm guessing is Radical Highway because we've got the Radical Highway remix playing, which sounds significantly better than that wubba-lub-dub version that we heard in the trailer, even though it looks more like Westopolis. So last Christmas time, I played the Sonic Forces Overclocked mod, and I pointed out that something that got me really excited was this seamless transition from Starlight Zone to Green Hill Zone, and I was saying I want more of that in Sonic games, in official Sonic media, because it's not something they've really ever done before. And they did it here. I'm so happy to see this. And just how psychedelic this all looks, as Black Doom is causing all of these buildings to contort and twist and segment themselves, and then they even have you running along one of those contorting buildings. That is so freaking cool. And it's just insane going from like how dead and lifeless all of the environments in Sonic Frontiers looked to this incredibly lively psychedelic environment where everything is moving and we're chasing Black Doom and everything looks purposeful. Everything has a rhyme and reason to it. The animations look so much more lively. Shadow, while he's in action, looks like an actual living dude. He's looking around at his surroundings. He's expressing. He just looks like a living dude rather than a player controller, which is what we've had a lot of in Sonic games recently. Is just, I'm very aware I'm looking at a video game character that's got animations programmed into him, whereas Shadow actually looks like a lively dude that is reactive to everything that's going on. This is what we needed, going from Frontiers with its amazing formula and piss-poor presentation to now we have this. And then if we could see this applied to the next big Sonic game in the open zone formula, we are truly winning here, guys. There's even a little sort of form of mini-boss at the end of Shadow just homing attacking these goons into Black Doom. Now, I will say this, for the Radical Highway section, while there are branching pathways, the stage does look very basic. There's a lot of just track that you are just running along. Now, obviously everything is being held up to scrutiny here, and I don't have the full context. And I think the reason this is the way it is because it serves as more of a story event climax at the end of the arc stage than anything else, with some mini-boss elements in there. Very AAA in that regard, like how many AAA games are narrative-focused walking simulators, focus more on being cinematic than anything else. It looks like Shadow Generations will have some elements of that. I just hope that doesn't take up too much of the overall game. That we don't lose sight of the fact that this is a platformer game at the end of the day, and that there's a lot of satisfaction that can be gained with the achievement of overcoming lots of different obstacles. Now, the stage does appear to be at least 3 minutes long. Consider, though, that the player doesn't boost much here, but also consider that there are parts of the video where it just fades out and doesn't show you the whole thing. So this is a much longer Sonic stage than what we typically get recently. Even with like Sonic Dream Team, for as many branching paths and as large as those stages felt, they were still quite short. You could get them done in around about a minute or so. This here is a lot more akin to like the Sonic Generations modern stage duration, or even maybe goes so far as Unleashed. Then as for like Shadow's controls, again, I'd have to get hands-on with it, but it does look a bit less stiff than Frontiers' cyberspace. The turning looks nice and responsive. The base ground speed looks a bit more akin to previous boost games where like you still have a decent ground speed rather than just being locked to like a gentle jog, which I think is really good to see for this kind of game. The boost is back to having a very bullet-like feel to it, and it has offensive capabilities once again. While I do prefer when the boost doesn't have offensive capabilities because it requires a bit more player input, again, for this kind of thing, it makes sense, and as it is, that is purely just a preference. But okay, I've been seeing there's been a fair bit of discourse over on Twitter about this gameplay. Primarily the level design. There have been comparisons to Sonic Forces. And while it's not a sentiment that I agree with, at the same time, I can kinda see where people are coming from. There isn't a massive amount of challenge to this level from the looks of things. Again, quite walking simulatory. Less based around precision platforming, and there's just a lot more overall visual stimulant here. I would say the level design is very roller coastery. Now, at the same time, from my perspective, this is just my opinion, I don't think roller coastery level design inherently automatically means Forces, or that it will share the same problems with Sonic Forces. Because it's also worth noting that Sonic Unleashed, in its first half with its daytime stages, a lot of visual stimulant. People used the boost to win argument back when Sonic Unleashed first dropped, and it's not something that I agree with. I do agree with it in the case of Sonic Forces, but again, I can kind of see a little bit of where they're coming from because, yes, it was all about that instant gratification of moving at top speed, tearing through obstacles in your path, and platforming was fairly minimal. But what separated Sonic Unleashed from Sonic Forces was that with Sonic Unleashed, it didn't feel so much like the levels were ending before they began. I am actually okay with Sonic stages being very kinetic, being very roller coastery, but the big problem with Sonic Forces for me was that not only were the levels incredibly short and unsatisfying because of it, because it felt like they were ending before they were even beginning, not only was player input minimal, not only was platforming minimal, level design was also incredibly corridory, and those alternate paths all lasted the best part of a couple of seconds. That and control was constantly being wrangled away from you. Anytime something cool happened, it felt like it was a scripted event, be it through a dash pad or a dash ramp. Whereas with Unleashed in that early half, even if stages weren't particularly challenging, it still felt like it was you that was playing the levels. Even if there wasn't a huge deal of player input there, beyond holding down the boost button and tapping jump every once in a while, it still felt like it was you playing the game. For me, Sonic Forces' problems were just compounded by a lot of different issues. When I was in control of Sonic, it didn't feel good. The speed felt incredibly artificial. Levels didn't really feel like they took me anywhere because it felt like they were ending just as they were getting going. I didn't really have anything to do in these stages, nor did I have the choice of doing anything in these stages. Whereas here, there are lots of different alternate paths that do appear to be a bit more meaningful. I would really like to see what those gravity panels do. On one of the alternate paths, I would really like to see what this platforming section is in the Radical Highway section if you don't take the railing. I would really like to see what happens if I turn right here. What we have here is an at least 3-minute long level with a pretty high skill floor from the looks of things, but the potential is there for there to also be a quite high skill ceiling, and that's something I'm okay with. Especially for a first level. I would hope the stakes will raise later on, but I personally don't think this clip here is enough for me to write this off as this is going to be another Forces. If you're choosing to do that, that is fine. I disagree, but like to me, it was more a collection of problems that made Forces what it was. Whereas here, all I'm really seeing that I could consider a negative is that yes, it does look very heavily in the direction of we're holding forward quite a lot, with not a lot of actual challenge here. But I mean, also bear in mind, Cyberspace 1-2 was quite a bit like that, but then you had like the upper path and the lower path, and it was just a great level. This indoor section here reminds me quite a bit of Cyberspace 1-2, and I really want to see what that upper path looks like. But it's also like you could look at Sonic Dream Team and how those levels last for around about a minute and say, oh, that's very Sonic Forces in a way. There are right and wrong ways of doing a lot of what happened in Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces was, again, just a culmination of a lot of different problems all piled up, and in the end, it was just like, if you're going to do roller coastery, thrill-based level design, that is not how you do it. I guess we will see as time goes by. I'm hoping that these levels will ramp up in challenge. I am assuming that this is towards the start of the game, given that this is where we are first introduced to Black Doom, going by the dialogue here. Kirk Thornton Shadow as well, sounds great. It seems like every time a new clip of Kirk Thornton as Shadow comes out, I see people on Twitter saying, oh, he did really good this time. It's like, it's also some of the same people as well, and it's like, you say this every time. I think it's time to just admit you like Kirk Thornton as Shadow. And that's okay, I like Kirk Thornton as Shadow. So yeah, in terms of Forces comparisons, I don't think they're completely unfounded, and I'm not out to validate anyone that does think there are comparisons between this and Forces. Personally, I myself don't see it yet, but it is the kind of thing that could emerge if we're seeing more gameplay footage, and it is just this, and those alternate branching paths don't really mean anything. But I think these levels look a lot bigger than the ones in Forces, and that is already a big enough deal for me to say, no, I don't think this is like Forces. Then there's the Bio-Lizard fight, and this looks awesome. The first half is very faithful to the original fight, albeit with a bit more of a combat focus from Shadow beyond just homing attacking. And again, I would judge this differently if it turns out that, like, oh, this is the product of just hitting the homing attack once and then all of the fighting moves are done automated. No, I'm hoping there'll be like some smashing the buttons there. That maybe this combat will be a bit more Frontiersy in a way. Maybe it won't have the combos, but you can still do punches and kicks. The Bio-Lizard model itself looks excellent as well. Like, I love how his gills move, the general movements of it. Again, it looks like a real living creature. It looks fantastic. We're seeing a lot of the Chaos Control powers in action here, how they slow down time, the advantage that can give you in battle, and while they are playing this fight really well, they're not rushing through it, and again, there are cuts here as well, so I don't know what else is here, but there is clearly some stuff we're not seeing. And the Chaos Spear section looks really fun and cool. I'm really wondering how that's going to work. I'm guessing the Chaos Spear will automatically lock onto targets, but yeah, I'm guessing it'll be more kind of like a homing attack, but done remotely, in a way. Now, just an update, Shaq News has uploaded some footage of Sonic X Shadow Generations gameplay as well, showcasing some of the level stuff that we missed in the VGC video, including more sections of platforming, player inputs as well, like button prompts. Hello, this is Pup from the future. So Shaq News' video is no longer up, I can't show you that, but we do have a similar thing from Games Cage, so I'll be putting that footage on screen instead. We can see the UI now as well, how some of the controls will be. We can see the homing attack is once again on the X/square button, and the boost is on the R2/RT button. So very frontiers in terms of the controls. We can see that you are required to mash buttons during these QTE sections, which is great news. And we see some of the alternate paths as well. Great, this is filling in some of the blanks. This is answering a lot of the things I really wanted to see. This looks like a really strong starter level. I'm hoping that danger is going to ramp up in later levels, but I definitely wouldn't call this Forces tier level design myself. Can I understand why others might? Maybe? I'm sure as hell not gonna start bickering with them though, guys. Learn to behave. Oh, but Sega would take the wrong lessons from the feedback. No. Stop being strategic. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Take ownership of your opinions, for God's sake, and stop embarrassing yourselves. So there's one more thing I want to talk about now, and there was an IGN Live where they asked Takeshi Iizuka our burning questions about Sonic X Shadow Generations. One of them was how long we can expect Shadow Generations to be, and Iizuka did clarify that he can't really go into much detail about how long the game's going to be, but it's not going to be as long as Sonic Generations itself. So yeah, if you're expecting it to be longer or as long, maybe temper your expectations just a little bit. There will also be a mix of 2D and 3D gameplay in the Shadow Generations portion, which elicited cheers from the audience, and man, I just want a really fully 3D Sonic game again, man. We do have confirmation that the events of Shadow Generations take place at the same time as the events of Sonic Generations, so this is Shadow's own journey that he's going on while Sonic is going on his journey in Sonic Generations. Iizuka was asked if there are any other remasters in the pipeline. One of the ones that the interviewer asked was about Sonic Unleashed, which elicited a cheer from the crowd, so based, big up Sonic Unleashed. We're kind of given a non-answer for that one. Iizuka basically said, oh, well, we've had Sonic Colors Ultimate, we gave them Generations because that's what the fans were clamoring for the most, so whatever we do next will be whatever the fans want the most. And that's a non-answer, that's a nothing burger, because more people were asking for an Unleashed port than were asking for a Generations remaster. If anything, people were asking for the adventure games as well, from where I'm sat. But I mean, hey, it's not like he was going to say, well, I know you guys weren't asking for Generations, but you know. But the crowd were really chanting for Sonic Unleashed, and one guy chanted for Sonic Heroes. Iizuka was there nodding his head along, so he's feeling the love for those games, fingers crossed, right? If the message isn't loud and clear already, I don't know what will make it so. So overall, what we really kind of learned from this is keep your expectations in check. This is not going to be as long as the base Sonic Generations, and that the story takes place at the same time as the original Sonic Generations. So that 14-minute Q&A ended up really kind of giving us a couple of minutes worth of answers, but hey-ho, that's what I took from it. Overall, I'm still really excited for the game. If anything, more excited now after seeing footage. I'll try and keep on top of updates as they come. But what do you guys think? Comment below, discuss. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, with a special shout out going to the patrons in the $5 and above tiers. They are RT0, CalX, Hypes, Glad Goku, Dare Denny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, Ken K, Dazzle Fizzle, I've sent my evil clone to find some helium, Cirrus the Skeptic, Biotin, oh no, I've used up all the helium, what am I meant to do now? And Vera Wild. Thank you guys so much for your generosity, and to all of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Now get out of here.